Is this the one knife to rule them all? Hey friends, welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and thanks for stopping in again. I know I've been gone for quite a while. I think it's a little over 3 weeks from doing my regular reviews. I've had a bunch of stuff going on. I'm not going to really get into it. It's just pretty much all of my medical issues piled up on me at the same time. And it's been a rough few weeks. And, still going through it, but I've got a review for you today that I want you to take note of. Those of you guys who are fixed blade guys, this is a cool knife to consider. Now, this is not a low budget knife. This is what, 155 US is the lowest price I could find for this knife. In Canada, they've got it at a Canadian store. Blades Canada has this for what is $254.99. So 255 Canadian dollars for this knife. And it's made in Czechia, Czech Republic, you might know it as, which, in Europe, eastern half of the Europe area. And ANV, Acta Non Verba, has been making knives for a while. And this is their newest in their military lineup, the M25. Is it a military knife though? Sure, but it's a whole lot more than that. So if you're interested in this, stick around. The full review's coming to you right away. Well, almost. Just one thing. I don't get political on this channel, but I do want to say one thing. There was a recent thing in the media in the United States because of a survey done in Canada. And it was fed back to the Americans that Canadians hate Americans. That's just not true. It's not. Of course, there's going to be some Canadians that hate Americans, just like there's some of any nation that hates some of any other nation. That's just the way life is, right? You probably hate some of the people in your own community. It's not unheard of, that's for sure. But the average Canadian does not hate the average American. That just isn't true. The average Canadian is tired of the issues going on between the political sphere between Canada and the United States, vice versa, going back and forth. Canadians just frustrated and tired of it. And sometimes that frustration comes out on some surveys. But in that survey, Canadians were never asked if they hate Americans. That question's not in there. And so when it got twisted and fed back to some Americans that we hate you guys, we don't. Most Canadians, or maybe not most, many Canadians like me, we've got family in the United States. I've got my sister, not a sister, my only sister. She lives in Missouri now. She lived in Nebraska for the longest time. Now she lives in Missouri. I've got other friends, cousins, more distant relations as well in the United States. And my wife's family, her brother worked in the United States for the longest time. Her sister was there for a long time. We've got relations that way. United States and Canada are more like siblings than cousins even. We're related. And so it gets frustrating when we can't all just get along. I know it's not that simple. It's much more complicated than that. That's all I'm going to get into. Canadians don't hate Americans. They're just tired and frustrated with political stuff going on. That's all aside. Let's focus strictly on this knife for the rest of the video. I'll do a complete review, like I always do, of this knife. First, the design. This knife was designed in Czechia, and as with most, I don't know about all, but as with most of the knives in the military series, the designers at ANV had some assistance, some feedback, some work with people in the Czech military. This one, the 25th Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment in Strakonice, I don't know Czech, so I probably said that terrible, were involved in the design and testing of this knife. And as they are the anti-aircraft missile regiment, I almost said brigade, regiment, there's one feature on this knife that's very particular to them, And this, it's back here. And this is the RBS, I guess, key to make a missile armed or disarmed. You can use that to do that on a RBS missile. RBS missiles are made, I think, in Sweden by Saab. So that's what that's for. But you can also use that as a bottle opener. And it works just fine as a bottle opener as well. Tiny little bit of technique that you'll learn pretty quick, and then it works just fine. Other than that, everything here can be used just about every way. Well, that's as a bottle opener, so can this. We've got sort of an elongated Nessmuk-ish style blade. You know, it dips down and comes up and then comes down. We've got like a saber grind, so you see the flat, thick edge going all the way up to about here, and then it comes down to the tip. And then we got a thin edge here. This is Sleipner steel. ANV does most of their Sleipner knives at around 60 Rockwell hardness. There's a few other knives that they do down to about 58. This one is done at 60, I believe. And there's their logo. That's an A, then an N, and then a V, acta non verba, and we've got it right there as well. Kind of discreet. It's not in your face. I like the badging on their knives. You know, it's done really well. Sleipner is a improved or upgraded version of a D2 kind of tool steel. So it's a good steel for outdoor use. And then they put this DLC coating. They've been doing DLC coatings on knives for a long time, and so they've done a good job with that as well. And that's the basics of that. This is Micarta. Now, it's a fairly deeply grooved, very aggressive in the hand. Not super overly aggressive so that it's uncomfortable, but this thing has a very low chance of slipping in your hand. First, Micarta is really good for that. And then with all these grooves in here, with or without gloves, I found this to be a very grippy handle, and it feels just great. Now, take a look at that. I'll put my hand right back here in the background. See, it comes thin here, a nice bulge, and thinner, and it bulges a little bit that way. And then we've got it narrow here, and it bulges, and it comes narrow again. It's very comfortable. My hands are, basically large size hands, except for I've got an extra large width in North American men's glove sizes. Extra large this way, but basically just normal large size hands that way. And so it tells you a little bit. I'll do a full set of measurements a little bit later on. Oh, I didn't show this side for badging. Here we've got the badging. It says M25 Sleipner, and there's a cryogenic cooling for the heat treatments, for the cooling part of the heat treatment process. And then there it says made in Czech Republic. And so Czech Republic, Czechia, you can use either term. I think these days is just fine. Czechia is the newer way. Like if you watch the Olympics, they referred to them as Czechia. There's some odd features about this thing though. There's a feature here. You see these lines milled in here. Now that's not jimping. Those lines are actually marked to mark out distance between a 1 to 25,000th scale map, which is, I guess, in Czechia, a common size map for military use. Here in Canada, I couldn't find, well, I found on Amazon.ca, there's some maps that I could have bought that were 1 at 25 thousandths. More common is 1 to 30 thousandths or 1 to 50 thousandths. But hey, if this isn't in the way, and it's a kind of a cool feature. I'm not a military guy. I don't know if it's very common to have 1 to 25 thousandths for the military or not. I'm sure some of you guys who are watching this have been in the military, and you'll be able to tell me in the comments below if that's really common or not. But we do have jimping right here, and it's nice, aggressive, but not overly aggressive jimping. I really like that jimping right there. We've got jimping right here in front of the blade for your index finger to engage on, and we've got some more jimping back here at the end of the handle, which, again, with all the milling done on the handle scales here, it makes for a very sure grip, and it works really, really well for that. Another feature that you might find a little bit unusual is they've got a milled section right here in the choil. So what is normally the sharpener's choil is a milled section for a ferro rod. Oh, I don't have my ferro rod right here with me. Well, I've got a file. So you can use this knife to, strike a ferro rod. So your hand can be here on the handle and you're not trying to strike back here or something, which can work really well for a lot of knives. But it's right there, right underneath your thumb, and you can really go to town. This hole is not quite ½ inch. So if you've got ½ inch ferro rods, that won't work in here. But in America, 3/8 is a very common size. And of course, quarter inch is a common size as well for ferrocerium rods. Those will work just fine in here. It's almost 11 millimeter diameter. So 10 millimeter ferro rod or smaller are going to work just fine. And nice crisp edge there, works really, really well indeed. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not. I did scratch, well, not really scratch through, but I did scratch into the DLC coating right there with my ferrocerium rods when I was doing my testing. Yeah, that's the price you pay for doing all the testing. It works really, really well for that. Now, let's go to all the measurements of this thing. Actually, just after I tell you what I think of its cutting performance, I really, really like this thing. It cuts really, really well. It's got the correct thinness to the blade for being a very useful knife. You could use this knife as a military weapon, like a backup weapon, but it works just as well for a outdoorsman's knife, a survivalist knife, a camper's knife, just an all-round full-size EDC outdoor use kind of knife. Not EDC in a city, like not urban EDC. Of course, you could use it there if it's legal for you to carry such a thing. Is this the one knife to rule them all? Well, I don't actually believe that exists. There's no such thing. But I think maybe ANV needs to rethink this knife, or maybe not rethink's the best word, additionally think more on this knife and just change it up a tiny bit and put this into their general class of knives and just make it the ultimate outdoors knife. Because I think it very much has that. The only thing here that makes this really a military knife, in my opinion, is the key for disarming and arming missiles. But in reality, to me, this is a very, very good outdoors knife. It just has so much going for it. And an outdoorsman survival knife, yeah, this would be way up there in terms of the design and execution and everything. Now let's do the measurements. The weight of this knife. Oh, I haven't talked about the sheath either. I'll do that in a minute. See, I'm out of practice. The weight of this knife, 140 grams. That's 4.94 ounces. So it's not a very light thing. Oh, I didn't show before. The balance point is right over that front screw, which is right where your index finger wants to rest. So the balance is really, really well done. The sheath, it also has ANV on there, which can be read either way. So ANV pancake sheath, riveted together, really well done with a MOLLE carry system. This sheath is 78 grams. 2.75 ounces. So together, 218 grams, 7.69 ounces. I'll talk more about the sheath in a little while. The sharpness from the factory, mine with my multiple tests at multiple spots on the blade, got an average score of about 200 best, which is good. And their Sleipner comes out, like I said before, it's usually closer to 60. I can tell by when I sharpen it, it just feels harder than, 58 does, but that's kind of subjective. So you can just take that for what it's worth. I think it's around 60. The sharp edge length, so from my thumbnail to my thumbnail right there, 108.6 millimeters, 4.27 inches. The blade length, so tip to the closest spot on the micarta, is 108.2 millimeters, a little bit less, so that's 4.26. So definitely 4¼ inches in the blade length. The blade depth, that's this measurement, where it's widest is right about there. Just a little less wide there. It's back to full width there. These two spots are about the same. That is 26.8 millimeters, 1.06 inches. The thickness of the steel is 3.47 millimeters. So that's 0.1365. So 125 is a quarter of an inch. So this is no quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch. So it's over an eighth of an inch thick by about a tenth of an inch, a little bit more. So nice, thick, steady without being heavy. You know, they kept the balances on these things, balancing the thickness with the weight and the usefulness and the carryability. Yeah, I just love that. Back to this, the blade thickness behind the grind. The average thickness behind the grind is, well, let's say from my thumb to my thumb and all the way across. That area is 0.4 millimeters, 15.5 thousandths of an inch thick. And then once you start ramping up this belly to the tip, it's getting a bit thicker. At the tip, it's 0.52 millimeters, 20.5 thousandths of an inch thick there. So it's not super thick, but it's done really, really well. And I've reviewed, I think, 5 of ANV's Sleipner steel knives. They do such a good treatment. It's not chippy. It's a good heat treatment. So this thinness is not a problem. And being that thin, it still cuts very well and is useful. You know, camping, food prep and stuff, that works just fine. I didn't use it to dispatch any animals. I haven't had it that long. And I haven't, you know, loaned it out to my family members who do go hunting, but I probably will, and get that feedback from them probably next fall. Yeah, measurements. See, I am quite distracted. My mind is all over the place right now. Sorry about that. The length from the beginning of the micarta to the end of the exposed steel back here, the handle length, 113.1 millimeters, 5.16 inches. The thickest spot on the handle is 22.6 millimeters, 0.89 of an inch. The handle depth, the widest point's right here, and you can see the steel's exposed just a little bit on the spine and the belly there. That is 14.6 millimeters, 0.575 of an inch. And the grip area, so between my thumbs, that's right around 10.6 millimeters, 4.17 inches. And the total length of this knife from end to end, around 240 millimeters, 9.45 inches. So yeah, prices I already went through. The lowest price I found in the United States was at Chicago Knife Works. Other places like Discount Cutlery is $185.59. Other stores might have it for around $210. So really shop around. If you're in the States, you might find a good deal on this. White Mountain Knives does not have this knife, at least not at time of recording. Canada, again, $254.99. In Europe, I saw the lowest price I found was at My Good Knife, 163 euros, roughly. That's with the VAT. So shop around. Australia had this at King of Knives for 467 Australian dollars. So it can get pricey. Go to ANV if you're in doubt and get it directly from them if you want one of these. And that's $201 US plus VAT, 243 US dollars if you have to pay the VAT. I don't know if they charge the VAT for customers in North America or not. So there you go. The value for money, I think, is really good. Let's put this down for a second. You can look at it there. You can see DLC, my skin's very oily, so I leave an oily finish on there and I can just rub it right off. The DLC coating's been very durable. The sheath, like I was talking about before, is a really nice sheath. We've got these MOLLE straps on here, which can be very useful. And I'm not going to show you how to use them on something. If you're a guy who likes using MOLLE straps, there you go. And it's the 2M MOLLE System 75, and they work really well. And I'm not that much of a MOLLE guy. I'm not a military guy, but it totally makes sense that for a military series knife that they used these MOLLE straps, and you can use these strap holes here. But the distances of all these are standard, so you can use a traditional or an old, not traditional, you can use pretty much any kind of clip system that you want. Now, I did try it with this. This is from a Real Steel knife, and I'm more of an outdoorsman's kind of guy, So, and not a military guy, or well, a lot of outdoorsmen use MOLLE as well. I just carried it with this attachment because it's a standard width from a real steel knife. I really like carrying it this way. I wish ANV would sell these kinds of options with them. Like, sure, make this standard for your military series knife, but having this available would be a really good thing. You can go to places like AliExpress and look for all kinds of add-ons for ways to carry it, but that's nicely done. The retentions, oh, yeah, there's a little bit of movement there. There's a little bit of noise in there. I guess you can do some stuff to alleviate that noise. There's a drain hole right down there. Some people will find that to be a big deal. Other people won't. So there you go. But we've got it with all this traction on here. You put it in your hand and you get to grip it just like you're going to use it before pushing it out. You don't have to readjust your grip, which I found really nice. And of course, it's ambidextrous. You can even see the ANV on that side. You can change these MOLLE straps to either side, or change it to vertical or whatever, because that's the option you have with that. So I really, really like that. Let's take the handle scales off and take a look at how they've put this together. Let's see, does that, I think I have to, yes, this side worked better. So these are stainless steel screws. There's a little bit of, there's a little bit of thread locker in there. And let's take this side off. I've not taken these off at all before. I just got the right screw before. What is this? 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter? Let's take this handle scale off on camera for the first time. There we go. So that's a nice thick chunk of micarta. There's a little bit of, is that oil? Yeah, that's an oily residue, so it's not water, so it hasn't been water sitting on this DLC. There's some weight reduction in there, which is just fine. Yeah, that looks like those can turn along, so you might need to, yeah, those can turn along, so you might need 2 screwdrivers when you go to put this together, so it could have come off on either side. Let's see if this one's gonna, yeah, it's a nice snug fit, so it doesn't want to just fall out. So there you go. Take a look at that. So nicely done. Just as I'm assembling this, and if you're watching it still, yeah, this month, it is now March 2026. At the end of this month, on the 29th, is the 10th anniversary of Canadian Cutting Edge, and I'm hoping to do something special for that. I know I promised to do a knife sale in February. I didn't promise. I suggested I'd be doing a knife sale in February, and I never got around to it. And I'm still trying to figure out about shipping knives to the United States. Most of my customers, when I have knife sales, are in the United States, but with the tariffs still, getting changed around and stuff, it's making it tricky for a tiny little, I'm not even a business, I'm just a guy wanting to ship stuff out, but I have to follow all of those procedures and rules as well. It's tricky. So I don't know if I'm going to do a sale that includes America or not. We'll see. But hopefully I'll have something ready in the short term for you guys, because I do need to bring more money in to buy more knives to review. And I'll probably be doing a giveaway. Don't count on it. Don't quote me on it yet, but I'll probably be doing a 10th anniversary giveaway of some knives. And I believe I'll be able to ship gifts to the United States without having to pay duties and tax, as a personal gift from a guy to another guy or gal. So we'll see about that. So ANV, M25. I really, really like this knife. Again, it's probably not for everyone, and it is a little bit pricier, but I really do think that if you get this knife, it's going to be a lifetime knife for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Those things really do make a difference. Without the load of subscribers I have, I don't think I would have ever had any relationship with ANV or any of the other brands that have sent me knives over the years to review. Most of the knives I review, I purchase, but occasionally there's some companies that like to send me stuff, and I'll have some more videos of stuff companies have sent me coming up, including a walking folder. The A200BB from ANV Knives will be coming up for review as well. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, or in this case, your enemy, and not your thumb. Bye for now.